short video, I want to explain the grading system I use in this class. Almost every assignment you will do for a grade has a letter weight. Now, if it is, which means it's going to be worth an A or a B or a C, one of these letters. If it has a double weight, then it's worth 2-letter grades. I'll just enter it twice. If it has a letter weight of or a grade weight of 4, that means that whatever you get on that one assignment, I'll enter 4 times into your grade line or your grade report. Usually it's a letter grade per assignment. I do not really use percentage scales. I use the GPA scale, which is represented here. These are the official grades of the GPA scale. Now notice there is no A+, and there is no thing as such thing as, say, A/B. There's no F+ or anything like that. So there is some discrepancy here. There's a jump here, and there is no A+, but so be it. I use this for a couple of reasons. One, it gives me basically 9 grades to play with, and 9 levels of the grade, I mean. And I can tell, well, around 9, because very rarely does any sort of work that's turned in for credit is going to get something at least a D+. But I will give these if I feel I need to, but usually I stick with these 9 up here, or 10 up here. And that's very doable for me. I can tell really quickly whether the thing is an A or B or a C in general, or a D. And then once I figure that out, I can tell rather quickly upon further reflection if is it really an A- or an A or a B+, a B-, a B. So it helps me score your written work a lot faster. I think with more accuracy actually, and actually also with more parity or fairness, because I'm not trying to pinpoint every mistake in the paper based on some rubric. Rather, I'm trying to assess it as a whole based on its impressions and its content and its form along, 3 general categories: A, B, C, and then within those, what type of A, what type of B, what type of C. The other thing is, I feel justified in using this because this is the grading system that's ultimately embraced by almost every college and university in America. As you receive your diploma or you look at your transcript, your work is going to be assessed as on a GPA scale, which is exactly this scale right here. So you need to get to know the scale. And that's really a good thing, because you notice that the highest you can get is a 4. Now look at the C. The C is a 2. That's 50%. Okay. So if you do an assignment for me and I feel you have 50% mastery of it, I probably will give you a 2. If I were to employ a strict 10% scale, starting with 100 points, 100 to 90 is an A, 89 to 80 is a B, 79 to 70 is a C. What's 50% of that? It's a 50%, obviously, which is a if you were to get 50 points out of 100, you would get an F on that assignment on a 10% scale. Here you get a 2, so there's a built-in curve that actually is going to help you. Now it gets a little confusing because sometimes you'll get a work back that says B on it, or sometimes you'll get a work that says 3. Well, it's the same thing. A B is a 3. I just decided to put a number instead of a letter. Maybe I forgot. I don't know. But you should know that a B is a 3. Or sometimes you'll receive something like this. What if you you get something back and it's A/B, which equals a 3.5. Well, there's no official A/B grade, but 3.5, if I'm going to average all of this out at the end, it's better than a 3.4 or a 3.3. So we don't want to call it an A/B, but in effect it is, because it fits right there. You should just know that I can fiddle with the ranges in this number. For example, sometimes I will give a paper a, how about a 3.1? Well, it's better than a flat B, but it's not really a B+. But when I average this with this one, when I do the averages, a 3.1 is going to help you a little bit more than just a flat 3. So be aware that I will often work with the steps that allow me within this to, a 3.1 to 3.2 is a possible valid score, but it's still going to be ultimately assessed along the general A, A-, B+, B, B-, C+ range at the end. This is the GPA scale. You need to become familiar with it because your transcripts are in this, and I will be using it for every grade in this class.